So, guys, I have some remaining questions here from the 500,000 subscriber Q&A. I tried to get as many as I could in. I did 2 full shows on the questions, and now I'll just squeeze in the last page that I have here with a handful of questions. Oscar Chamorro asks, what's your thoughts on Chapo Trap House on a whole? The people themselves, their political views, etc. I'm embarrassed to admit that I've never seen it or heard or listened to it or anything. I'm kind of well known for being behind everybody else when it comes to trends and things that take off. Like, I'm notorious for being like a year to 2 years late on everything. So I just haven't heard it. But I hear from other people that it's good. So, and I hear they're Bernie supporters and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. You guys tell me. Robert Jasso asks, Kyle, on immigration reform, you once mentioned that you would amnesty all current illegal aliens in the U.S. and enforce border security. Wouldn't an amnesty encourage even more illegal aliens to cross the border? Okay, so let me answer that question in a few different ways. So first of all, I'm in favor of deporting criminals. So if somebody comes here and they're an undocumented immigrant and they're a criminal, I have no problem kicking you out. I want to kick you out. And in fact, that actually was Obama's position. People talk about how, Obama broke the record for deportations. That's true. When you look at the numbers, over 90% of the people he deported were criminals. So when I learned that fact, I went, that's not as unreasonable as I thought. When I heard he broke the deportation record, I went, what a dick. There he is doing right-wing policies again. But then when you saw that over 90% of them are criminals, at least my reaction was, then I don't think he's really being that unreasonable, because I agree with shipping out, deporting criminals. I mean, perhaps the 9% of people that weren't criminals that he deported, I wouldn't deport. But the criminals, I have no problem deporting. So that's point number one. Point number two is, I don't really care what it incentivizes as long as we're doing the morally correct thing. And in my opinion, if you have undocumented immigrants who are here, who are law-abiding citizens, which the overwhelming majority of them are, who are working hard just to provide a better life for their families, again, the overwhelming majority of them are, and they're actually an integral part of the economy, and what they do very important jobs, and we need them to keep everything functioning, well then, of course I'm going to do right by them, and I'm going to allow them to stay here. Alabama shipped out all their undocumented immigrants, or maybe it was a certain county or district in Alabama, and then within a year they were begging for them back because they were needed. So the anti-undocumented immigrant fervor is just bullshit, and it stems from bigotry and xenophobia. Now again, I just told you, I'm in favor of deporting criminals. Yes, get rid of the criminals. Totally fine with that. But if you're an undocumented immigrant and you're here and you're working and you're doing your part and you're nothing but a boon to the economy and the system at large, well, then of course I'm going to be in favor of you staying here. So yes, I would give those people amnesty. And the reason you do that is you give them worker protections. You give them, child labor laws apply to them, minimum wage laws apply to them, and you make them part of the system. You make them, if they're American in every other way, why not take that final step and give them their rights, which is what they deserve if they're here and they're working hard and they're just trying to create a better life and they're law-abiding citizens. Okay. I hope that answers your question. And by the way, after we amnesty the people who are here, who are undocumented immigrants, who are not criminals, then I may differ with some other progressives and liberals when I say I'm totally fine with border security. Totally fine with it. You want to, after we amnesty the ones who are here, you want to do some sort of catch and release program? Somebody just crossed the border. Sorry, we're going to send you back. Sorry, but I'm fine with that. Because I'm not in favor of open borders, totally open borders. If you want to have a welfare state, which I do, I love the idea of a welfare state, well, then you need to have borders. Because if you have no borders and a welfare state, well, it's only a logical deduction that as many people as possible will come in to try to get the benefits of the welfare state. So, yes, you should have a border and you should have a welfare state. We should give amnesty to the non-criminal undocumented immigrants who are here, and I do that today. Ghost Reader asks, what are your parents' political views? So my mom was raised in a Republican household, and she was a Republican most of her life. I believe she even voted for Bob Dole in the 1996 election. I think she may have even voted for W. But Obama was the first time she voted Democratic, and I think she's voted Democratic ever since Obama because she has me as her son. And, I don't even try to talk about politics, but I guess every now and then I bring up, something. And she's a good person, so she can't help it. If she hears about some horrific thing the Republicans are doing, she's like, okay, yeah, I just can't. I'm going to vote for McCain and Palin. Fuck out of here. So she voted Republican most of her life, but recently she's been voting Democratic. My dad, he didn't vote, and he listened to Rush Limbaugh from time to time, and his views were kind of like a mix of, I don't know, some weird made-up conspiracy theories of his own, plus maybe a little right-leaning overall. So yeah, I don't come from like a well-known liberal or progressive household. I came to all my own conclusions through my own reading and my own research and my own experiences, and it wasn't like a parental thing where it was like, oh, they were liberal and I just became liberal. No, it wasn't like that. Dr. Doom asks, have you noticed that there's a war on Wikipedia for whether or not you deserve a page? That's awesome. So when I read this question, I went and I looked. It's true. So my page was up at the time, and it said at the top, it's, it's subject to possible deletion or something like that. I don't know why. But yeah, allow me to make the call right now. If they do delete it, keep putting it up. Whoever's listening who wants to take part in this game, keep putting it up. Because that's like my biggest badge of honor, is that there's a fucking Wikipedia page to Secular Talk or to Kyle Kulinski. Because it's like, oh, there you go, there's your legacy. 100 years after I'm dead, and somebody, happens to stumble across an old ancient, clip of mine, and they go, who the fuck is this? They look it up, and if the Wikipedia page is there, that's it, mission accomplished. Because that's all that's going to be left of me when I'm gone is the Wikipedia. Like, this is what this guy did. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, let me go grab a sandwich. That's enough. That's all I need. I just did a giant spit take. That was disgusting. But that's enough. That's all I need. So, yeah. Keep fighting to keep it up there. Because it should be up there. We're fucking big enough. As I've mentioned a million times on the show, our numbers beat CNN's numbers for the key demographic in the middle of the day. So if you compare our numbers for a full day versus CNN's, Wolf Blitzer time slot in the middle of the day in the key demographic, we win. So I think we're fucking big enough and we're known enough to have that Wikipedia page. So don't let it come down. Fight for me. Sag Woke asks, congrats on 500k subs. What keeps you motivated and going in life in general? And do you have any advice for people who may be in a rut? What keeps me motivated? I don't know. It varies. Sometimes a random clip of another YouTuber will get me going. Sometimes it's athletes who hit the pinnacle of their sport that gets me going. Sometimes it's just seeing something that's that's just a clear example of injustice that I want to fight back against, and that gets me going. It comes in a variety of ways, man. Sometimes if I've rested for long enough, I'm just ready to spring back into action and I can't wait, and it's just a natural drive. So it depends on the thing that gets me motivated. And the advice for people in a rut, I don't know, man, because everybody's case is so different and so distinct, and I can't pretend to know what you're feeling or what you're thinking or what's going on in your life. And, if somebody's depressed, first of all, I'd recommend treatment. I don't think there's any shame in whether it's SSRIs or anti-anxiety medication or taking a literal medical approach to it. I disagree with people who are against that, have that old school mentality of like, pills are always wrong, treatment is always wrong. I don't agree with that. So apart from seeking actual help, if you feel like you need it, the secret's in the dirt, man. It's the old golf phrase. Like, how do you get better? Secret's in the dirt. Keep hitting shots. Keep hitting shots until you get it right. Secret's in the dirt in life. Keep going until you feel like you get it right. If you have hobbies, like, that seems like a goofy thing to say, but it's true. If you have hobbies that you really like and you really enjoy, you can get lost in those hobbies and you forget about your troubles, you forget about your feelings, you forget about your worries. And even if it's just a brief fleeting moment that you feel like you're away from all the difficulties of life that you're dealing with, it's still something that could, boost your mood and make you feel better for just another day. And sometimes people don't want to do the hard work to learn a new hobby or get interested in something else that they haven't been interested in before. So they're just kind of stuck in this path of like, fuck it, I'm always going to be depressed. And no, you just got to keep searching and you'll find something that you feel like you can cling to and you can enjoy. And, you know, it's, everybody goes through ups and downs. Some people's ups are more ups. Some people's downs are more downs. And again, I can't pretend to know what you're feeling or what's going on in your life, but, just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel all the time. It sounds goofy, it sounds cliche, but so that's life is fluid, man. It's up and down, it's all over the place, and your feelings might feel stagnant at the moment, but they're subject to change, and your interests and passions in life are subject to change, and you just gotta exhaust every avenue until you find things that give you some genuine happiness. And then once you hit it, you know, the old phrase is, happiness is never stopping to think if you are. Meaning you're just being, you're just acting, and that is happiness in itself. And at some point, you can stumble across that. Jimmy Good asks, who was the first person you voted for? Obama. It was 2008, President Obama. I voted for Obama in the primaries, and I voted for Obama in the general. The primary was the first vote, obviously. By that point, it was between Hillary Clinton and Obama. And I went with Obama. By the way, it wasn't a clear-cut answer back then, because Hillary Clinton was actually campaigning for single-payer healthcare in 2008 in the primary, and Obama was not. So I had a tough choice. I was like, Hillary Clinton, Obama, I don't know, she's for single-payer, but he's not for single-payer. But on foreign policy issues, Obama was more non-interventionist, and he had said, like with Iran, like, I'll talk to them without preconditions. And Hillary made that a campaign issue, like, how dare you want to talk to people and get peace? And so it was because of that Iran issue that I was like, I got to vote for Obama over Hillary, because she's like openly way more hawkish. He's non-interventionist. He's not for single payer, but he is for some sort of healthcare reform where we cover a lot more people. So it wasn't a clear-cut answer, but Obama was slightly more progressive in totality. So I went for Obama over Hillary. Voted for Obama in the general, of course. 2012, I voted for Jill Stein, because Obama disappointed me with drone strikes massacring civilians. And then, of course, Bernie in the primary and Jill Stein in the election this time around, because I'm in New York and my vote didn't matter. But if my vote mattered and it was Hillary versus Trump and I was in Ohio or something, I would have sucked it up and voted for Hillary, even though I despise her. And finally, if you were forced, this is May Groves asks this, if you were forced to join a religion, which would you pick? Also, would you rather fight the one horse-sized duck or 1,000 duck-sized horses? So there's no good answer to rather fight one horse-sized duck or 1,000 duck-sized horses, because 1,000 is so many that they're gonna fucking overwhelm you. So I think I'd rather fight one horse-sized duck, but I'm gonna lose in either fight. Like, I'm gonna lose to the 1,000 horse-sized ducks. Horse-sized ducks? No, duck-sized horse? Duck-sized horse. And I'm gonna lose to the one horse-sized duck. So I'm going to lose either way, but I'll go down swinging against the one, because 1,000 is just way too many. And if I was forced to join a religion, I'd either pick Sikhism or Buddhism, because they seem to, or maybe Jainism, because their values system, if people actually try to live by them, they seem to be more about loving and caring and oneness and more positive stuff. Whereas with most religions, they're just a mishmash of contradictions and shitty stuff and good stuff. Most religions are just giant mixed bag of the worst stuff in the world and the best stuff in the world. It looks to me like Sikhism and Jainism, the values they have on paper are good. Doesn't mean Sikhs and Jains can't be bad people individually. Of course they can. And Buddhism, too, more leans in the direction of more good stuff, although there is some contradictory stuff in Buddhism. So if I was forced to join a religion, it'd be either Sikhism, Jainism, or one version or another of Buddhism.